Alive? Oh my God. I might be alive. I might not be alive. I might be alive. Who knows? Spencer Israel, Jeff Mackey here with you live, I think, on the internet. What's going on? This is Mackey's Retail Roundup Live, a new thing we'll be doing every Tuesday around this time. Get some thoughts, get some wisdom from Jeff Mackey, the man, the myth, the legend. I have him here now. There he is. Jeff, what's going on?
I'm being legendary, just
Yeah,
hanging out, doing
great.
legendary type stuff.
And what a day to do that. So today, Jeff, you wrote a post that you sent out an email this morning, and you were talking about the lessons for a bear or rules for a bear market. And I was hoping we could start with that because I thought it was a great post. And whether we're in or not in a bear market, I don't want to get into that debate. Okay. Technically, I mean, we're not, we haven't been, we were still in a bull market, but not every market is treated the same for certain, subgroups like,
It's a
high,
bad market, man.
yeah,
It's a
it's a bad
choppy market.
market.
This, you know what?
Technology has been rough. Retail has been rough. They were the two discretionary
Worst
were the two
groups in the
worst
entire,
sectors.
yeah. They're
Exactly.
the worst. Absolutely. It was the worst year for consumer discretionary since 2022, or the worst
Exactly.
quarter.
So
And so it's been a while. It's been a long time since we felt this kind of pain. I don't care about the semantics. 20% means nothing. That's just a headline thing that people like
right.
to complain about. And in fact, yesterday, the XRT actually at the lows of the day, it was hitting 20% off the high. So it's been toying with a bear market. But man, if you own like a PVH of the world and you're down 60%, take your definition and shove it. Deckers was the worst performing stock in the S&P 500. It was down 50% from the end of January until the end of March. That is you don't expect that. They make UGG shoes and running shoes. These aren't things that explode. That's not a high tech type of I'm gunning the business type of thing. And it's bad enough, Spencer. Here's kind of the point of this is that it's bad enough that we're getting that effect where people are starting to ignore their statements. And that's what really kind of got me thinking about this. I was looking at the data. As many as 50%, the worse the market gets, the less people look at it. They stare at it like just junkies as markets are going up, but the tendency is to not even look at your statements. The number of people logging in to check their monthly, how my stocks do drops by as much as 50% when the market gets down 15% or more. 50%. So half the people who are normally looking at their statements being good, responsible, investing citizens won't even look at it. I can't even see
that
it.
makes a lot of sense actually. So let's talk about this. Obviously, we are in a bear market for consumer discretionary for retail, which is your neck of the woods. So let's talk about it. Bear market rules. What's the first rule here, Jeff?
First rule is you got to check it out. We got to get past that problem that I was just talking about.
Don't ignore the
Don't
problem.
ignore it.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Like 90% of your anxiety comes from crap that you're not doing. It comes from the pressure of, oh, I've got to look at this. Oh my, it's your statement kind of slides in, it gets thrown on the kitchen table and it lands with like a thud. It's just sitting there, just looking like ominous news. Your Apple's down, your Nvidia that you finally talked yourself into buying a month ago is just crashed. It's a shit. No one wants to see that. And so they just ignore it and the anxiety builds, and that's where bad decisions come from. Our topic today is how to stay healthy in a choppy tape. We're for sure in a choppy tape. And rule one is you got to pay attention to it. That doesn't mean fixate on it. It just means that the fear of the unknown is always the worst kind of fear. That's in fact what's plaguing the market right now is we don't know exactly what the tariffs are going to look like. It's scary. That's the most ominous thing in the world. Open the closet door and see if there's a monster in there. Look under the bed. Don't just have it be a mystery whether or not you're going to get a call from the margin clerk. Okay. That's a really bad idea.
That being said, there's probably a balance to be struck, right? It's probably not good for your health to be looking at this stuff 10 times a day. But you also shouldn't be ignoring it either.
You got to stay in kind of your groove, and that's going to tie into the next point. But I do it on a monthly basis. I'll just go through kind of list of and basically the entire portfolio of stocks I've even thought of. Spent some time over the weekend looking at Target. I haven't owned Target in ages, but they really are kind of the quintessence of what's plaguing the consumer right now. It's a story no one wants to own the stocks. It hasn't drawn down this far from the prior highs since 1974. which was probably before you were born. My dad worked for Target at the time, and I can barely remember it. So, it's been a while. It's been a while since it's been this dark. Take a look at this stuff and keep it part of your routine. But, don't just ignore it. You got to pay attention to it. You got to kind of go through and figure out what the field position in the tape is, because otherwise you're just going to be sitting around being terrified of the fact that the president seems to want to kill the economy or something. I'm not sure what the general narrative is, but it seems scary, and it's not something you ignore. Don't fixate on it, but have an idea of whether or not you have cash. Have an idea of whether or not you have money to put to work when you do find a dip, when you are looking for a buy, which kind of ties into number two. You're not going to become, if you don't manage your book every day, this is not the time of the trading cycle when you're going to teach yourself to be a trader. You're not going to be a gunslinger. You're not going to get out of this market complexity by hedging it out and learning how to trade puts and start doing all kinds of butterfly spreads and other things you don't understand. It's punditry is really cheap in these kind of tapes. And right now, everyone they're all tariff experts. They all understand how the trade war is going to play out and how it's going to work. Don't get in that game. Stick to what you know. I am predominantly long. I like to short sometimes. I'm not going to be day trading every day. This is the kind of tape where people all of a sudden, if you're a lifetime long only type of person, all of a sudden they want to learn how to short. My wife asked me about shorting yesterday.
Or they want to hedge with options, right?
Yeah. Can't I buy puts? Well, funny thing is, someone beat you to that idea.
Stick to what you know. Rule number 2: stick to what you know.
Right? Rule number 2 is absolutely stick to what you know. Do your homework. It's you're doing it, and you got to just reduce the anxiety, which kind of brings us to 3. And that's the gestalt of the whole thing, and it speaks to just health. It's, as you know, I was doing CNBC's Fast Money during the great financial crisis, and a grown-up man came up to me in Grand Central Station, and he started crying, and he was asking me about his secret. He clearly hadn't slept. He was kind of just this shattered guy who he just let this whole thing kind of spiral out of control. It was a classic mix of all these different things. And it was leading to just kind of a physical and mental sort of, it was really a troubling thing. I know we keep it light around here, but this was hard stuff. And, financial distress leads to a lot of different problems. You get snappy with your relationships. You become a crap dad. You start drinking a little bit because holy crap, I lost umpteen whatever amount of money matters to that particular person talking amount of dollars today. I'm going to have a highball. You and I both are friends with Dr. Phil Perlman. He's the man for this stuff, and he's helped a lot of people I know, but his focus is always, start with sleep, start with a little walk, get yourself healthy, because people freak out. And this is a tape where you're absolutely capable of freaking out. If you're long Target, you're super freaking out. I was long, I got sad about Target just because I missed my dad. If you're down 70%, you're having a super bad time with that. It's not good times at all. So keep yourself healthy. There's a great time to kind of take up a workout program to just get yourself a little fit and to just pay attention to how you're feeling.
My number one advice for anything, this goes for markets or not, is just go for a walk, preferably outside, but not necessarily. Just go for a walk. Just go for like a nice 20 to 45 minute long walk. It'll clear your head. It'll get you away from the screens. That's like the easiest thing that you can do.
And what's funny is going for a walk is one of those ideas that becomes a little trendy. It's kind of getting to be a little hot right now. People are talking about going walking more. You're right. It's timeless. It's like all good advice. It's like, that would be nice. That does make sense. I guess breathing outdoor air instead of just staring at my computer moping makes a good deal of sense. So it's amazing how this can feed into other aspects of your life. But again, we're talking about major stressors that impact people in a visceral way. It's going to get all their serotonin, it's going to get their neurotransmitters all fired up. They're going to be confusing fear with greed, with all these different emotions. And you got to get healthy, man. I was much more cavalier about this when I was young. I was much just dumber about it. We're going to muscle through. We're going to, the best way to address this problem is to think about it for 22 consecutive hours. No, Go for a walk, man. Just go for a walk.
All right. Step three, rule three, be healthy. Rule number four, Jeff.
It's we've got a little sale, a little Christmas in April, Spence. And what do we do around Christmas time? Well, we start making lists for the good girls and the bad boys, and we make lists of things that we would like on the stock market. We make lists of stocks that we really like, would love to own, but maybe missed them all this time. It's for everyone that owns Apple. There's 10 people that never have owned Apple. Do they want to buy it now? No, but that's what the whole point of the list is. If it goes on a 50% off sale, well, I probably want to be long that name. I make lists of stocks that very seldom dip, but I would buy them at 25% off and chuck them in a drawer. The classic kind of what stocks do you give to your kids? Those type of names. That's the list I want to make. It's dynamic, it's not a suicide pact. There's names come and go off the list, but the point is that these are stock prices that if you saw them, when you saw them at the time, the last thing on earth you'd want to do is actually buy the stock. Walmart's at 85 right now. I would buy it at 50. I can say that right here with it at 85 and I'm already long. I can say, I'd lever the cat. I'd put the dogs up for sale. I'd put them on eBay just so I could own this stock if it was valued half of what it is right now and was still the same company. If it actually got there, all of a sudden I wake up tomorrow and Walmart's down 40%, I'm going to be a little mopey. I'm going to be in that unhealthy place we were talking about, Spencer, and it's not going to be a walk that's going to fix me. So, go ahead.
No, I was actually thinking about you yesterday. I did this exact thing yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, I made a list. I called it, I was inspired by Jeff, Spencer's Consumer Portfolio. These are companies that I either am a customer of or a member, or I'm just a huge fan of their mission and what they stand for, or all of the above. Right. And I came up with it was either 7 or 8 names. I don't have it in front of me, but it was either 7 or 8 names. And that's my list now. That's like the Spencer Consumer Portfolio. Right. And I don't own any of those stocks at the moment. I own 0 of them. Right. But I will buy them. Right. One by one, I will buy them. When the charts tell me it's a better idea to buy them. I'm not trying to be a hero here.
No, we're just looking for broken stories that you're going to get at Amazon. What you pay for Amazon as an investor, that's going to vary. That's all over the place. It's discount rate this and return on discounted cash flows that, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, there's really not an economy that Amazon doesn't do better than everyone else in. At this point, they've diversified their bets so at that point, it just, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but at that point, it's like, well, do you think we're going to have like a kind of consumer-led economic type of capitalism going on in America in the future? And if the answer is yes, you probably want to own the best retailer on earth. You probably just do.
That kind of leads into the last rule, right? Which is be optimistic. Right.
To be optimistic, and it's the lamest. It's the most touchy feely. This has gotten a little soft, Spence. We're going to go for a walk together into the sunset, and we're going to make happy lists, and we're going to be optimists together. But I tell you what, it's cold-blooded crap. It is. I've met Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is a riverboat gambler who would absolutely just sell you. Like, he'd have no compunction about taking you every penny you had at the table, and then he'd give you some avuncular little wisdom about, a fellow who didn't know how to play cards shouldn't probably mess with Warren F. Buffett and make you feel folksy about it. But what he is at his core is an optimist. And he says this over and over again, that he's going to bet on America. He's going to do that in size, and he's going to step up, and he's going to buy it when no one wants to. And I literally say this to my kids. I literally remind myself of it. It's usually things work out. Right now, the entire market's freaking out over the actions of a guy who, granted, it's unconventional, but Trump was talking about tariffs last time he was president. Does no one remember this? The market's freaked out then too. Yeah, this was the worst quarter for consumer discretionary stocks since 2022. That was another year that we were waiting for the economic collapse in the post-COVID, post-stimmy world. People sold down stocks 40%. That was a great time to buy. It's if America goes straight into the toilet, if the entire thing collapses, then we can switch sides and we can figure out new morals. But until then, just bet on America. Just buy the freaking dips, and you're going to be better off. Be careful about it. Pick away at it, but you want to be long overall. It's if you
Yeah.
want to sell super scary newsletters and develop a little cult of people who follow you around, you can do that with scary stories about how the dollar is going to zero and China's going to bomb us into the Stone Age. If you want to actually make money, you just be a capitalist and figure that the system's going to hold up in the face of it's we're not going to go to a hot fire trade war type of situation. America's going to do fine.
It's the old saying is like if you can bet on the end of the world, but if you're right, there will be no one left to, give you your money, right? So what good is that, right? There'll be no one left to pay you out. So
Yeah.
like we said earlier, you know, you're looking at the U.S. consumer. Do you really want to bet against U.S. consumerism in the long run? In the short run, anything can happen. It's getting killed right now, right? We talked about that, but in the long run, the U.S. consumer will win because it's what they do, right? We buy things. That's what we do. So,
We literally built the country on that. We're
yeah,
the best in the world for real at so few things. Like professional football is probably one thing. Like we're probably the best in the world at
we
that.
are the best buyers of stuff.
But yeah, the buyers of stuff is absolutely not to be argued with. We are better at that than we are anything else, and we're pretty good at a lot of stuff. But man, we consume. We will
Yeah.
consume. We'll spend $1.10 for every dollar we get. We'll buy pizza. We'll buy whatever. The goal is just to figure out kind of where our money's sloshing to at any given moment.
Yeah. Look, this isn't perfect. This list is not designed to, save you money or anything like that, but it is designed to sort of help you get your head out of the vortex of suck, right? That we can sometimes find ourselves in when our numbers are going down on the screen, right? So I
Yeah,
hope
let me
it,
lean into my Obi-Wan for you here, Spencer. This
yeah.
list is in fact designed to make you money. This list is in fact, I've made some hilariously stupid decisions because I ignored some very basic rules on this list about being healthy, about getting sleep, about actually paying attention. All of them, all of these come from hard won experience. And I'm trying to help people avoid making really stupid decisions. Like just the terrible, I'm going to sell everything decision that you make at the exact bottom.
Oh no. Yeah,
Right. The nut
I
kick of
mean,
all time.
I think we all know people, Jeff, that did that in '07, '08, '09, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or more recently during COVID. I know people,
Sure.
and they have not gotten back in, right? And it's like, what are you doing, man? You just cost
And
yourself.
what they're doing is they're sitting around building a case for how the world's really going to all fall apart. And this last 90% rally that we just saw that just ended is a bunch of crap, but it's a bunch of fake money and blah, blah, blah. All of which may or may not be true. And that's fine. You live better if you're an optimist and you just kind of go with what the market's giving you.
Yeah, and I realize that some of these things they may seem contradictory, right? Oh, be an optimist. Oh, sell. Look at your portfolio and if you have any crap, sell it, right? It seems contradictory, but it really isn't, right? Because
No,
well,
no.
because we're talking about some basic tenets of portfolio management and risk control, right? And just being an investor. This is what being an investor is, right? And a trader. It
It's
involves,
complete. Yes.
yeah,
It involves being contrarian. It involves it's and again these things they become cliches, but that's only because we confuse optimist with idiot. Like we use those almost synonymously, where it's just like just because we've been kind of the top economy in the world for the last 70 years, we're idiots if we point out that it's more likely than not that we will manage to extend that kind of run for a while. The American dynasty, that the American Republic isn't going to fall apart, seems like an idiotic and stupid thing to say, but you're probably right. It's probably the real thing. It doesn't mean your whole portfolio is going to be fine. It doesn't mean you have to ignore the other responsibilities that come with managing a book. It just means that freaking your things are normally going to turn out okay. Maybe not for every company in your portfolio, but for most of them, for most folks, you got to play for the long haul, because what if the sun doesn't explode and you actually have to be here for another 50 years?
that's right. Yeah. What if you keep living? All right, Jeff. Anything you want to cover today as far as the market goes? I know PVH is up 17% on their earnings report. I know, I know Costco reports same store sales later on this week. Anything that's on your mind right now?
I'm watching that PVH, and I'm watching to see that action over the next few days. we've seen a few big responses. It's PVH tells us a couple of different things. There's a couple of reasons to pay attention to them now. They're the old Calvin Klein guys. They own Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger. They didn't figure to have a great quarter. The stock has been shellacked since a year ago. Last week they warned and it got pummeled. But the thing is that people started piling in on the short side over the last couple of months. That was, as it turns out, kind of late. And so you had record high short interest going into a number that everyone knew was going to be bad, and the stock is up almost 20%, which is a crazy reaction, a face ripper. Welcome to shorting, all you folks who didn't stick with what you knew and decided to short things, because you have this company that faces every danger known to man, and just because it's not blowing up right away, they're jamming it higher. What I want to see, we've seen good quarters already, though. We saw Chewy have a good quarter. We saw On Holdings have a good quarter. We saw a lot of different companies that figured to be challenged. They said things were fine, and the earnings reaction initially was good, and then they sold off. So watch this company over the next few days and see if they can hold a bid. I think that a lot of people want to play a hero on this. There's going to be folks that think that there's going to be a follow-on, right? Well, I'm going to play it up to a Fibonacci 30% bounce or something. You know what? My considered opinion on the matter is just walk away. There are 10,000 stocks out there. These stories, sometimes you just got to learn something from them, but don't have to trade them.
Yeah, that PVH report, it was good. Was it 18% good? Well, like you said, there's probably some market dynamics at play. But I guess to your point, the real
and they're doing a
is,
huge buyback, and they're doing a huge. There was just a lot of skepticism going into the number. We saw that Lulu was the exact same setup, really, in a lot of ways. A stock that's a perfectly fine company, actually, in Lulu's case, a terrific company. Low expectations. They sure enough had low outlook on the year, and the stock just got murdered. So, there's a fairly kind of random reaction machine. Turns out this was a good day for PVH to report mediocre numbers because the market's rallying and you're getting back some of the cash.
Sometimes that's all it takes. It's all just timing. If you report on a bad day, tough. If you report on a good day, great, right? I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. So can't avoid that. All right, everyone, listen up. If you want to know what is on Jeff's shopping list, because he does have a shopping list, he is constantly updating it and revising it. If you want to know what's in his portfolio as well, I just dropped the link in the chat. It's also in the description. You can join Jeff's retail roundup. He does members exclusive content for his members pretty much every day. Does a weekly video for them on Thursdays where he goes over his portfolio, what he's bought, what he's sold, what he's going to buy if certain things happen, what he's going to sell if other things happen. This is the actionable stuff, and all that is in there in the retail roundup. So check it out, link in chat and description. And Jeff will talk about his trades in a couple days when he does his next video for his people. So Jeff Mackey, thanks a lot, man. We'll do this again next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for watching, chat. We appreciate it. Any final thoughts, Mr. Mackey?
Hang in there, be brave. If you're going to buy protection and start doing those puts, do it on up day like today. Today is a great day to consider opening your portfolio, see your statement, and see if there's stuff you want to trim or add.
Not a terrible idea. Maybe don't sell naked calls as well.
Probably not.
Don't do that. Don't sell naked calls, and maybe if you're going to buy puts, do it on an up. All right, yeah, that's what we got. Thanks for watching, and Jeff, thanks a lot, man.
All right, good to be here.